As I mentioned, we're broadcasting here from Artesia General Hospital, and it's Hospital Week, and it's Nurses Week, and another great guest we have from the hospital is Kim Salgado, who is you're head of the Artesia General Hospital Foundation, right? Is that part of what you're doing here?
I am, and that is my new role that I accepted in October of last year. So I am getting my feet wet in my new position.
Trying to figure out a foundation and how to manage that and
Yes.
keep that going. But you've done other things here at the hospital over the years?
I have. So we joined the hospital in 2015, where I've been an office manager. I've been the practice manager of Memorial Family Practice over the last few years. And prior to that, I was the manager and co-owner in a private practice with my husband. So I come to you with several years of experience in healthcare.
That's right.
So-
Now, I know Dr. Salgado, your husband, right?
Yes.
He's from Artesia. Are you from Artesia?
I am. I was not born here, but I was raised here and went through school in Artesia. So yes, so I'm a lifelong resident of Artesia.
No, and that's got to be helpful because as you try to recruit doctors and nurses and other people to come to Artesia, it's a little bit of a challenge to get people to think about the positives of a small town, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, having raised our children, all three boys here, and being a community member, you know, it's very important that you have somebody local to explain all of the great, wonderful things that are offered within our community. And so we try to definitely pair those new prospects up with the local team members so they can share their experiences as well.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge, but you're trying to meet it, so that's
Oh, yeah.
great. Well, tell us about the foundation. What is the Artesia General Hospital Foundation?
So the foundation was started in 2018 with the mission and vision to support the health and the wellness of our community. So with that being said, many years ago, the vision of the actual foundation started with Joe Shield. So many of you guys know Joe Shield in our community, but he had worked in the schools and worked as a teacher for the CNA program. And so then found a love for our hospital and wanted to support the hospital by starting a scholarship program. So that was the basis of the foundation. And so as of 2018, we took all of that and we coupled it with beginning the foundation. And the foundation supports the hospital in ways such as offering scholarships to our employees, continuing education, and also assistance through the Employee Assistance Foundation. And that fund has been used to, support hospital team members that have had a catastrophic event. So over the years, we've been able to provide things such as financial assistance through for funding for funerals. During COVID, we supported some of our team members who have had a death in the family, or other catastrophic events like of a house fire, or you've become ill because for some reason and you're having trouble paying your bills. So the foundation comes in and supports those employees and provides some sort of financial assistance to them. So as of our scholarships, last year we were able to provide 7 scholarships to employees, and the scholarship amount is $1,000 a scholarship.
Okay.
So, and this year we've decided to open it up to 2 sessions. You're eligible to receive 1 scholarship a year, but now we're also allowing it for spring and fall.
Okay.
So this will be our first year to do two sessions.
So the foundation sounds like it's very well funded, or at least it's being funded or supported. Is it supported by the hospital, by the community? Where does the foundation receive its?
So a little bit of both. That's a good question. It is supported by the community. We definitely are looking to have, community donations to help support. Hospital support comes in the way of payroll deduction from our employees, and we do small fundraisers around the hospital, which employees contribute to. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of both. So our goal is to get out in the community and encourage more support from the community.
Yeah. Well, so be looking for some more events now that things are kind of opening up with COVID being hopefully in the rearview mirror. And,
Sure.
moving forward from that. Well, that'll be kind of fun to be able to have some events in support of the Artesia General Hospital Foundation.
Definitely. And I mean, we want the events to be beneficial to the public. So to support, like I said, the health and well-being of our community. So we may have an event such as, let me throw this out there, a painting class, but we'll couple it with a talk from one of our providers so that, the community are getting answers to questions that they may have from one of our specialists. So, or, we may do in the future a health fair and, try to get our providers out there so the community can actually visit with them.
And with proceeds benefiting the
Yes.
foundation when that takes place. Well, that'll be good to get back to having those. We used to have those before. I remember one time we had a trailer that we brought to the health fair for a remote broadcast, and I borrowed a vehicle, and as we were leaving, I couldn't keep the vehicle running. The engine kept stalling out. And of course, I called the person that I borrowed the vehicle from, and the first question they asked was, well, does it have gas in it? No. So, but that's an odd story. But I mean, these are little things you have to worry about. The last couple of years have really been a challenge for everybody. I mean, the entire world has had to deal with the COVID pandemic. It's been a challenge for the hospital. What were your experiences like, and how did you manage to help the hospital get through and get to where we are now, hopefully coming out on the backside of the pandemic?
Well, that's a twofold question because it ties into the reason why I wanted to be a part of the foundation. Being a part of Memorial Family Practice, we kind of, I use the term lightly, but I feel like we're the see-all, be-all, catch-all.
Right.
And so our staff actually, engaged in treating COVID patients, doing COVID testing, and also providing vaccinations. And so with my staff and the staff at the hospital, we were able to provide 17,000 vaccinations to our community members. And so that to me was such a great event. I mean, our hospital came together day in and day out. We had lines of patients wanting to be vaccinated. And so we even had board members. Mike Deans came and helped on a daily basis. And so just community outreach and to be available for something that the community really wanted and felt that they needed was what drew me to the foundation.
Yeah. No, that was an important part. As a matter of fact, I think I sat in a chair right over there waiting, for my 30 minutes.
Yes. Along with numerous people.
A lot of people did. And because where we're at, we're in one of the meeting rooms that's off the Green Chili Cafe. And I think this was converted into the vaccination clinic that the hospital provided for the community. 17,000?
It's over 17,000.
Wow.
Now. And of course that has to do with first, second, and third doses, but for a small community like ours, it was just a great
than
feat.
The population of the town, if you just do one per person.
Absolutely.
And all that was great to be able to do that. And then you touched on it earlier when you talked about the foundation that and Dr. Salgado talked about this too. It had to be tough because we're a small town that the nurses and the staff know personally many of the patients and that came through the hospital the last couple of years. That had to be really tough on not just the families, of course, but on the staff here at the hospital.
Yes, and I mean, it really actually for my staff that were doing clinical hours with COVID patients, it really was taxing on them. I mean, donning and doffing was huge. Just even gearing up to just do a simple test and making sure that we're all covered and protected was was a big feat in itself, but there was such a need. And, trying to be open and available to patient access, to provider access, was a big part of our everyday.
Yeah.
And so, I saw in our staff, I saw the fire in their eyes at first, and then I saw the tiredness on their faces as it progressed, and everybody was ready for the sunlight to shine again.
That's right. And hopefully we're headed there.
We are.
And I was reminded this the other day when I had an appointment across the street. The hospital is a healthcare facility, so you're still operating under the governor's mandates, the health orders that are in effect. So basically, you still have to wear a mask.
Yes.
Inside the hospital complex, right?
Yes.
But do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see it coming where you're going to kind of get back to what you would consider to be a normal way of operating a hospital?
I do, and I definitely hope, that in the near future we don't have to wear masks or worry about it. I tell patients who say, but we don't have to outside of these walls, and I'm like, listen, I don't love to do that every day either, but it's just for an hour of time. We're not mandated to do it all day, every day. It's just for your visit time, and you can go about your day. So people have been pretty receptive about that.
Yeah.
But getting back to normal has been great for the staff, for morale, and just for the hospital in general. People just do not have the fear of walking in our door anymore, having to sit by somebody they know may or may not be sick.
Right.
So
that'll be great. I know the gentleman we talked to yesterday that does the Green Chili Cafe. I know he's looking forward to the time that the general public can come back and enjoy the cafe here. Right now, it's pretty much just for hospital staff. Right?
Yes, and the public's definitely missing out. There's some good food coming through our Green Chili Cafe.
Well, I think they're doing a lot of catering, though. It sounds like they're not catering and going out, but
yes,
come to the door here and we'll load up the vehicle with all the food. So that's good.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
So one thing I failed to mention with the foundation is it supports the hospital for their needs as far as like, what do you need in your department? Is it as simple as a microwave? Is it, an MRI machine? So more recently, I sent out a survey to our department directors asking them what they felt they needed in their department and how we could assist them. Mm-hmm. And, if it's a large item, how, formulate a plan on how we could go about fundraising for that. And some of the requests were as large as, like I said, an MRI machine. Mm-hmm. One was a skeleton for our PTOT room. And using that as a learning and teaching tool.
Sure.
But it could be as simple as a microwave or warming blankets for the OR.
Yeah.
An IV pole. And so those are some of the things that the foundation is looking at to support the hospital. Also, one thing I didn't mention is the foundation was instrumental in the purchase of our 3D mammography machine.
Okay.
And so back when I was a foundation member, that was definitely a goal that we accomplished. And at that point in time, for 3D mammography, we were having people drive to Alamogordo, to Roswell. Not to Roswell, to Albuquerque, mm-hmm. for those services. And so we were able to support the hospital and bring those services in-house. And that way we don't have to have our community members traveling outside of our area.
Sure. So
scholarships,
the support of families that have had
employee assistance fund,
and then helping out with needs that the different departments have equipment-wise within the hospital. So that's a pretty major aspect. That's a pretty important foundation. There's a lot of different areas that are really important to help out. Have you seen, I know you mentioned Joe Scheel earlier, and he was really big about getting kids involved and wanting to become nurses. I wonder if anybody's tracked people that maybe got a scholarship back when it first got, if they've gotten into the healthcare field or if they've even come back and are working here at Artesia General?
I know we do have some that have graduated from the program and have gone on to further their education and or are working at Artesia General. So Joe Shield is part of our foundation, as I said, but he's also involved with our foundation as we look at trying to implement a medical assistant program through the hospital. That's one of our long-term goals that we have set this year, and so we're looking at avenues of as to how we can begin a medical assistant program within our facility and offer it to community to further their education.
Wow, that's fantastic. Old Joe.
Yes.
There were a few times that he's a big baseball fan, and he used to help out at the state, or not the state, at the Artesia baseball tournament. He'd be the public address announcer, and I'd be with Jim, and we'd be doing play-by-play. And he brought a coffee maker, and I would bring coffee, and we would spend the whole day drinking coffee and telling stories and doing that kind of stuff. And I know that he's told lots of stories about how he's involved with the foundation and how he wants kids to get involved in nursing and stuff like that. So it's great to hear that he's still actively involved. Well, good. Well, is there anything else going on out here at the hospital that you want to share today with folks, or?
Other than Hospital Week, today is actually Receptionist Day. So
Okay.
for those who hold a position as front staff and receptionist, I appreciate you. I thank you. They are the first person you see when you walk in the door, and so.
Or they're the ones on the phone.
Yes.
When you're happy or mad.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so they do a tremendous job, and I thank everybody for a job well done.
So we've got
So-
that. We have Nurses. Is it
Nurses Week,
Nurses
yes.
Week, and then, of course,
Hospital Week.
which is why we're here today at Artesia General doing the morning show. And I know a little later on, the employees are going to get a chance to have a little cookout and
Yes.
do that out here at the hospital later today. So that'll be fun
Yep.
for those folks. Anything else?
I would just encourage any community member who's listening to, send me your suggestions.
Okay.
What do you want to see from the foundation? How can we reach out, and how can we engage you in healthcare? And so that can be done by just a simple email at foundation@artesiageneral.com.
Foundation@artesiageneral.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Kim. Appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you for having me. I
And
appreciate
thanks
it.
for hosting us. This is, we don't have windows like we have at the studio downtown. I mean, there's windows here, but they're up there.
Sure.
But it's been fun to be here, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot. We're going to take a break, and we're going to try to figure out